Now, let me share this because it says, after Nathan had gone home, the Lord struck the child that Uriah's wife had born to David, and he became ill. In Psalm 51, it says, this is a psalm of David when the prophet Nathan came to him after David had committed adultery with Bathsheba. So this is how remorseful David was, because in Psalm 51, he captured it. He said, have mercy on me, O God, according to your unfailing love, according to your great compassion. Blot out my transgressions. Wash away all my iniquity and cleanse me from my sin. For I know my transgressions, and my sin is always before me. Against you, you only have I sinned and done what is evil in your sight. So you are right in your verdict and justified when you judge. It's like you've judged correctly. Surely I was sinful at birth, sinful from the time my mother conceived me, yet you desired faithfulness even in the womb. You taught me wisdom in that secret place. Cleanse me with hyssop and I'll be clean. Wash me and I'll be whiter than snow. Let me hear joy and gladness. Let the bones you have crushed rejoice. Hide your face from my sins and blot out all my iniquity. This is where we get that popular song, create in me a clean heart and purify me. Create in me a pure heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit within me. Do not cast me from your presence. Cast me not away from your presence. Do not take your spirit from me. And restore to me the joy of my salvation, so I may worship you. Then I'll teach transgressors your ways, so that sinners will turn back to you. Deliver me from the guilt of bloodshed. O God, you are my God, my Savior, and my tongue will sing of your righteousness. Psalm 51, go read it. But David he's confessing there. Now, after Nathan had gone home, the Lord struck the child that Uriah's wife had born to David. This was Bathsheba's first child. The child became ill. This was her first time being a mom. Imagine her feeling the pain of labor, the pain of pushing a baby out. And when the baby came out, the baby was healthy. The baby came out eating, sleeping, pooping. But one day, the child just begins to get a fever. And they're like, okay, some children have this, but at some point, they're like, the baby is not getting better. He's no longer eating as much, constantly crying, temperature keeps rising. At some point, they would have called the attention of David, like, hey, we're not sure what's going on. They called David. David already knew what was going on. His response, he says, David pleaded with God for the child. So David's response, I'm going to go and appeal, because that word plead is where we get the word I plead the fifth. It's like an appeal. So David went to the court of appeal to appeal the judgment he had already received. God, please have mercy. I know I messed up, but you're a God of mercy, please. He acted as an intercessor for his child. He pleaded with God for the child. He fasted and spent the nights lying in sackcloth on the ground. The elders of his household stood beside him to get him up from the ground, but he refused, and he would not eat any food with them. On the seventh day, I don't know if you've ever fasted before, like this was deep. To not eat for 7 days. I don't know if he didn't eat. I doubt he ate at all, to be honest. Even if he ate maybe once, anyway, it doesn't say, because he didn't eat with them. 7 days. It's funny how David displayed self-control after judgment instead of before. On the 7th day, the child died. David subjected his flesh to pain. On the 7th day, David learned that his appeal was denied. The child died. And David's attendants were afraid to tell him that the child was dead, for they thought, while the child was still living, he wouldn't listen to us when we spoke to him. How can we now tell him the child is dead? He may do something desperate. It's like they were scared for him. Like the way he's taking this. And David noticed that his attendants were whispering among themselves. And he realized that the child was dead. And he asked, is the child dead? Yes, they replied. And then David got up from the ground. And after he had washed, he put on lotions and changed his clothes. And he went into the house of the Lord and worshipped. And I'm just saying that. He didn't go straight to eat. He went, cleaned himself up, went into the house of the Lord and worshipped. Then he went to his own house. And at his request, they served him food and he ate. I really felt for Bathsheba, because she must have been distraught. She just lost her first child. This was the child that she got to interact with. She probably got to feed him. And all of a sudden, he was gone. This must have been traumatic for her. She's going through grief. She has just lost. Imagine she went through 9 months. And so his attendants asked him, why are you acting this way? When the child was alive, you fasted and wept, but now that the child is dead, you get up and eat? And he answered, while the child was still alive, I fasted and wept. I thought, who knows, the Lord may be gracious to me and let the child live. But now that he's dead, why should I go on fasting? Can I bring him back again? I will go to him, but he will not return to me. This is the verse that I just quoted, which is suggestive that the child made it to heaven. And children, I think until you get to the age of accountability, you go to heaven. I'm pretty sure. But anyway, don't quote me on that. Maybe David didn't tell her your son is going to die. I doubt David said anything. He just kept quiet. It's like David was used to keeping quiet anyway. Verse 24 says, Then David comforted his wife Bathsheba, and he went to her and made love to her, and she gave birth to a son, and they named him Solomon. Now, remember, we're here to explore the life of Solomon. And we've just gone through all that. And there's a reason why I did that, because for a mother who has just lost her first child, can you imagine the level of connection and attachment she would have had to Solomon, her next child? Think about that. She just lost one. Now she has had another one, and this one is here to stay. She would have loved Solomon like anything. I mean, if they committed adultery, then they should be the ones to pay for it now. But why is a child going because of it? So I think that's why I said that. But Solomon would have been loved. They would have treated him special, treated him with so much love, considering the circumstances around his birth. And his name Solomon means, what does Solomon mean again? Peace? Something about peace. Yeah, Solomon means shalom, peace. Yep. Solomon means peace. Yep. I thought it was more than that. I don't know. Okay, but peaceful, peace. So obviously, based on the storm that had happened with the first child, you can imagine now peace has come. The Lord loved him. And because the Lord loved him, he sent word through Nathan the prophet to name him Jedidiah. Jedidiah means loved, beloved of the Lord. So it's interesting. Let me take you to one verse here. First Chronicles chapter 22, verse 9 to 12. Now, this is one reason why I'm sharing this as well, because Solomon would have been treated as a special child. Why? First Chronicles 22:9 says, But you will have a son. This is God. This is David narrating his conversation with God, right? God is telling him that you will have a son who will be a man of peace and rest. And I will give him rest from all his enemies on every side. His name will be Solomon. And so God had already named him. And I will grant Israel peace and quiet during his reign. He is the one who will build a house for my name. He will be my son, and I will be his father, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom over Israel forever. This is David speaking to Solomon now. So the fact that David had this child and named him Solomon means that he knew that he had given birth to his successor. So he would have had a different type of relationship. He knew this is the guy that is going to build the temple for God. This is the one who is going to succeed me. There's no way David would have been treating him like every other child that he had. He would have had a close-knit. He's trying to pass certain principles to him. Plus, Bathsheba would have loved him more because she had lost the first one and now she had one. And because God had already revealed that this one is not going to be a fighter, he's going to be a builder. Now we're getting an idea of the mindset of Solomon here. Solomon was not going to fight. He was going to build. It also says the Lord loved him, which means he had favor. Now, there's a question I've always had, because and we're going to see this when we get to 1 Kings, when he had a dream and God appeared in the dream after the sacrifices that he made to God, and God gave him a blank check. Solomon asked for anything, and Solomon asked for wisdom. I've always wondered, where did he get that from? Plus it wasn't a dream. It wasn't a physical transaction. It was a spiritual one. And I know that in life, this is how I study the Bible, guys. I know that cause and effect, nothing just happens. Everything has a cause that produces the effect. So I remember I was reading this a few years ago. Now check this. Verse 11 says, Now my son, the Lord be with you, and may you have success and build the house of the Lord your God as he said you would. May the Lord give you discretion and understanding. Let me give you you'll see this. It says, verse 12, only may the Lord give you wisdom and understanding. Only may the Lord give you wisdom and understanding and give you charge concerning Israel, that you may keep the law of the Lord your God. David prayed over Solomon. David said a prayer that may the Lord give you wisdom and understanding. Is it possible that this is what caused? Because it was in a dream. So a lot of the times in dreams, we're not really aware of what is going on. Our spirit being is the one that's taking control. So in the dream, Solomon is requesting for something that I believe David had already ordained through this prayer. And it's interesting how right after David repents, all of a sudden the fight that they had been fighting for over a year suddenly comes to an end. So meanwhile, Joab fought against Rabbah of the Ammonites and captured the royal citadel. And Joab then sent messengers to David saying, I have fought against Rabbah and taken its water supply. Now muster the rest of the troops and besiege the city and capture it. Otherwise, I'll take the city and it will be named after me. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this clip and you want to know how to hear from God using the Bible, I'd love to invite you to a live Bible study session that is happening every single day, Monday to Friday, 5 to 6 p.m. EST, where I show you how to not just read the Bible for information, but how to meditate on it for revelation, because revelation is the key to your transformation. Take care. Bye-bye.